And next on the big broadcast this morning, I am joined by, and I'm really looking forward to this. I have to set this up a little bit. I got an email from a friend of mine in New York that was a link to a site that talked about a native New Yorker who had written a short story called The Third Eye back in 1981, copyrighted the story. Some years later, went to see the blockbuster hit The Matrix and recognized significant elements in that movie from her own work, and has sued and had the case dismissed, and the controversy continues, and we're going to talk to her. The writer in question, Sophia Stewart, joins us by phone from Las Vegas. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Tom.
And thanks for getting up. I know it's the middle of the night for you, and that's amazing. And I don't know how you got Ed Small to join you. That's amazing as well.
Oh, thanks, Tom.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. How you doing, man? Great to be here.
Now, after my friend Johnny Rivera in New York sent me a link, I think, to work that you did, Ed, which is a video that's very compelling and very powerful, that makes the case that both the Matrix movies and the Terminator movies are based on the work done in this short story that Sophia wrote back in 1981, or copyrighted.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. I authored a short documentary, on copyright infringement called 1 minute and 45 seconds hidden in plain sight. Someone recently asked me, well, geez, Ed, what's hidden in plain sight? And I had to just slowly explain to the person the copywritten work of other artists. And this is what the film is showing. The film is showing that the first 1 minute and 45 seconds of the Terminator film that we've all seen is depicting material that's reflected directly from Ms. Stewart's copywritten source material, and at the same time, what we see in that first minute and 45 seconds bears absolutely no resemblance to what Mr. Cameron has in his copyrights. I felt that was compelling, and so this is what I put in the film.
Well, I want to make a correction, Tom. I didn't write just a short story. I wrote a body of work. I wrote a 6-page movie treatment, special effects, graphics, characters, the whole 9 yards. That's what you see in The Matrix and Terminator.
Mm-hmm. And
the Oracle, including the Oracle.
Yeah, just quickly, Sophia. There was a call for scripts by, was it Joey Silver?
There was what now? What about Joe Silver?
There was a call, as my reading of this stuff, there was a call for scripts, like a request for people to submit scripts and so on, and you sent your material to these producers and never heard anything back until you saw the movie. Is that right?
Well, let me clarify that.
Please.
The Wachowski brothers were looking for a science fiction manuscript to do into a comic book. And I sent them my entire body of work because I grew up on comic books and I loved them. And so my dream was to have my work as a movie on the screen and as a comic book. And so they got everything, special effects, graphics, characters, fight scenes, because the martial arts scenes and stuff, that was also created by me in my work. So it's mind-boggling, but when people buy my book, I mean, it's there.
And the book is called what, Sophia?
The book is called The Third Eye, and it can be bought on my website, truthaboutmatrix.com. Truthaboutmatrix.com, and it has everything. I mean, graphics, special effects, the red and the blue, the whole 9 yards is there. So, and to clarify to people, I have 3 copyrights, 81, 83, and 84. The Wachowski brothers have no copyrights to The Matrix. Their 94 copyright, when you pull it up, has just a sheet of paper with the title Matrix, and you cannot copyright a title. That's all they have. They have no source material, and when you read the book, there are letters stating from Warner Brothers that the Wachowskis have no source work. It's also FBI documentations in there that I am the writer of The Matrix and the Terminator. There was never a dispute of that between Warner Brothers and myself. As soon as I contacted them, they knew who I was, and they offered me money. That's all in the court documents. And the Terminator people told the judge, Judge Morrow, that they took Terminator from me 18-some years ago, and the judge cautions them to admit to her that was a willful intent, which is criminal, because under the law, you cannot admit that thinking the statutes of limitations apply when the clock starts ticking on the theft the moment the victim discovers the theft, not when you have taken the work, but when the victim discovered the work has been taken, and I only discovered in 2001 from the FBI.
Oh, it was, well, and now I want to, there's a couple of things that come to mind here. This has become, when you search this subject on the web, there's a lot of conflicting information. I want to get into that for just a minute. For example, there is an article that's floating around that says you won the case and it was big money, like one of the biggest settlements ever against a Hollywood film studio. There was like this big story, and then Snopes kind of debunked that and said, no, that isn't exactly what happened. The case was, dismissed, or however it was resolved, not in your favor. And then, you're challenging that and the attorneys. How is it that it ever got reported that it went positive to begin with?
Well, let me tell you something that's going to blow your mind. I'm actually still in the court system. That's going to blow your mind. I'm involved in 3 court cases. And I'm sorry that it has never been reported to you guys, because that's the media's job. But the media is not compliant to their job, reporting the accurate news. And
well, not just about this, Sophia. they're doing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, it really is pathetic. Because I'm in Utah federal courts concerning Matrix and Terminator, a malpractice fraud case against my former attorneys for $150 million that concern Matrix and Terminator. And then I'm over in California federal court bankruptcy court for Terminator 4 for $390 million. So the saga continues, and I was recently in February in the Wall Street Journal when they were talking about me and James Cameron. So the saga continues. It is not over, and there was never any dispute that I wrote The Matrix and Terminator. Some of you guys out there were confused. What I filed a lawsuit for after the FBI's investigations and after Warner Brothers offered me a settlement, which I aborted myself personally, which was told to the judge, which is in the court documents, which are right in the book. What we were fighting over was a billion dollar royalties. The royalties came to about $1 billion. Let me explain this to people so I can set the record straight. The Wachowskis defaulted on that court case immediately. They lost. They never answered. They had 30 days to answer the complaint on The Matrix, and they never did. They went past the 45 days or 90 days, so they automatically lost on the default judgment. Matrix was then, at that point, never brought up, because they had no copyrights, period. They couldn't even produce anything to prove that they wrote The Matrix in the state court when Lawrence Wachowski was getting a divorce from Thea Bloom. She had produced documents telling the judge he never wrote Matrix 1, he and his brother, and they put in 2 declarations. One declaration lied, said they wrote it in 93, then they nullified that and told the judge that was a lie, that they wrote it before 93, but they had to go to Chicago to find some proof. And the proof is that they never wrote it, and they had a 94 copyright that they hid from the judge, which was an inside job. Someone gave them a copyright, but they had no source work. They just had a sheet of paper called with the title matrix that they assigned to one